Good morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
All right. Good morning. Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. Just myself on today. Had some great guests lately. Looking for new guests. So, go to insurancematchmaking.com and say, hey, I want to be a guest, or I think you really should have this person on your show. Whatever you can get out there would help me get going. I did want to kind of update on some scheduling things coming up. If you've been listening to my show, you've heard me talk about my Welcome to Medicare, or sometimes referred to as Medicare 101 workshops that try to get done at the local library. Here in Cookeville, I do it at the library. Recently, went back to the Livingston Library called Millard Oakley Library. It's a great location, and it's handy for me to get people that might not want to drive all the way down to Cookeville in the evening after they've got home from work, things like that. So it works out great. And then I also do sessions at the Cumberland Business Incubator. If you're familiar, like here in Cookeville, we have the Biz Foundry. It's kind of the similar concept, but it's part of Roane State Community College. They have the campus right there, just down the road from Stone Memorial High School. And that's a great location. Again, can pull in. I can help people that don't want to drive all the way to Cookeville again in the evening when they just got, they got off from work. Because generally, people who are turning 65, majority of them are still working, and we go over, what they need to do, and if they're getting their insurance through their employer, what they may or may not need to do. And that's a lot of stuff to go over, and I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but if you think that might be useful to you, register for one of our workshops. If you go to my main website, which is a link on the insurancematchmaking.com site, but mattlibbyinsurance.com, and then /WTM for short for Welcome to Medicare. And there's a calendar there. You can register for the event, or you can call our office and we'll get you on there to reserve seats. I will say in Livingston, it's never a problem with enough seats. It's a huge room. But Cookeville Library, we can be limited. When I first started doing these, one time we had enough people come that it kind of pushed the limits of how many we could accommodate. But in the Cumberland Business Incubator, we're a little limited on space there, but that hasn't been a problem. But, if we get too many, we may have to cut that off. So, but upcoming dates on those, April 25th, we'll be at the Cumberland Business Incubator, and then on the 29th here at the Putnam County Library, and again on May 13th at Putnam County Library, May 20th at Millard Oakley, and then June 20th at the Cumberland Business Incubator. I'm sure there'll be a June date for Cookeville, just don't have that set yet. So basically kind of the plan is every month have a workshop here in Cookeville, because that's where most of the people come in from. But with Crossville and Livingston switching those up every other month, we can get people in those areas and get the information to you in time before you actually need to sign up for your Medicare. I have people calling me, and they're over a year out from their Medicare and they're starting to worry about it. And I love that people want to plan ahead, but it doesn't really have to be done that soon. But you're more than welcome to come to the session and just let us know that, hey, I'm very interested in this. I'm not ready yet, but I want to know what I need to do in 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. And just a quick reminder, if you are turning 65, you do have a 7-month window that is your initial election period, enrollment period, We use those acronyms, and E and gets switched from enrollment to election on several different periods the government sets for those. But when you're first eligible for Medicare starts on the first of the month. So generally it's going to be the first day of your birth month. So it doesn't matter if your birthday is the 15th or it's the 29th. Your Medicare is going to start on the first of that month. And then you have a 7-month window that's your enrollment time, because if you don't enroll during that time, you could be subject to penalties later. And again, not going to get into all the why you would or wouldn't be subject to a penalty, but that's that 7-month period. So you got plenty of time to get enrolled when you're turning 65, but most people want to know what they need to do ahead of time, and that's what we help with. But there is one exception to that Medicare starting on the first of your birth month, and that is if your birthday is the first of the month. That's the one big exception, but generally pretty much everybody their Medicare is going to start on the first day of their birth month. Like I said, with that one exception, if their birthday is the first. That's the only exception to that. It's always going to be the first of the month, but it might not always be the first of your birth month. So that's the one thing I wanted to cover on that. The other thing I want to just touch on, and I probably will go into a little bit more detail in some of the things concerning that, but talking about scheduling. On April 18th, and I'm not sure exactly what date this show will air, so it could be after the day, but April 18th, we're doing a workshop. I've got Danielle Rolfs is going to come into town. She's a subject matter expert about funding for things like long-term care and home care, and we're titling it Avoiding the Nursing Home, the Hidden Gaps of Medicare. So you don't have to be on Medicare, and actually it probably makes sense if you think this might be something that concerns you is to come. Even though Medicare might be a few years down the road, it may be still a good time to be looking at it. And what we're looking at is alternative ways to fund long-term care and home care. And that's why we title it Avoiding the Nursing Home, because who wants to move in a nursing home, right? So we're going to come up with ways, that you can maybe have the funding to cover you staying at home or your loved ones staying in their home longer, and you're able to care for them and be able to pay for that without totally eliminating your retirement savings. So that's going to be a great session. It'll be April 18th. We're doing it as a lunch and learn, so you do need to register. So you can call our office or go to our website, or you can go to the Insurance Matchmaking site and comment there and just say, hey, I'm interested in this Avoiding the Nursing Home, and call me. Or email me, whatever you want us to contact you, and we can get you in it. Because the seating is going to be limited. We're actually doing it at my office. I have, with the new office now in South Jefferson, we have a training area. We've got a nice big TV on the wall, and we can set up chairs and tables depending on what we're trying to do that day, and do that. So, and we will provide lunch. So it'll be, not going to be elaborate, but there'll be some lunch, and if you do have dietary restrictions, let us know ahead of time, and so we can make sure we can get something for you. Being very focal on that. My wife has happened to do the dairy-free and gluten-free diet because of some health concerns that have arisen, and it's really fun when you go out to eat and try to figure out what you can order. So, and we do want to make sure that we're not making it difficult for someone to get something to eat. We don't want you to have to bring your own. I kind of plug Domino's right now. They're right next door. So I can order something from them, or we get something else. But, if you're gluten intolerant or have some food allergies, we definitely want to know that and make sure we can not have something that would be an issue for you. But that's going to be on 18th of April. At our office at 1683 South Jefferson. But we do, like I said, that one just showing up could be difficult, because if I have a full house, then there's not going to be seating or maybe not enough food. So let us know if you think you might come to that. But those are a couple of things coming up that I want to make sure people know what we can accommodate. And I do want to talk about, I am going to talk about some things that address long-term care, and I'll probably do that in the later segment of this show. But some of the things I kind of want to address also, I've probably stated on here, my insurance career started with the duck, doing the supplemental worksite benefits. And one of the things I learned when I got introduced to Aflac, I'll say their name, I don't have you probably figured out who I was talking about anyway. But one of the things that we learned was that 60-some%, I don't remember the exact percentage right now, of bankruptcies are caused by health issues, health costs. The remarkable thing on that is 75% of those individuals had health insurance. So it's not so much the health insurance cost that's getting you. It's the other costs that come up, especially if you're the main breadwinner for your family and you're not able to work. That puts a serious financial crunch on your family. That's one, and there was another study come out said the financial burden of a heart attack is $75,000. Now, and I'm saying that's what it's going to cost you. You can have insurance. Your insurance is going to pay for the hospital, or at least most of the hospital, subject to deductibles and cost sharing. But again, that time out of work, the time to do rehab, things like that. So that's one of those things I really encourage working folks under 65, get some type of specified illness plan, critical illness plan, depending on which insurance carrier you're talking to, what name they call it. But if something major like that happens, you get a lump sum payment and you put that money in the bank and you have it there. So that's the one thing. Under 65. Those over 65, I don't see a specified illness or critical illness plan being all that important, because generally at that point you are retired and most of your costs would be that time in the hospital. So a heart attack is not going to set you back near as much as, say, something like cancer. And that's why I'm going to get into talking about some cancer plans. So I always encourage any of my Medicare clients to consider a cancer plan. And that's why we can go specified and just go straight to just a cancer plan versus a lot of the plans are cancer, heart attack, and stroke. If you're on Medicare, the heart attack part, stroke part might not be as important as having the cancer plan. And I can explain that in a bit here. But under 65, yes, it makes sense. The other thing is accident plans. They're very inexpensive, and they will cover so much of those costs that are related to it that have nothing to do maybe with the medical part of it. Your medical insurance is covering it. So I'll go a little bit more into those in after the break and just kind of outline why I think those are important if you're working to have some type of supplemental benefit. I can't compete with those plans that offer it through payroll deduction, but if you don't have that available through your job or you're self-employed, that's all the more reason why you might want to look into some supplemental coverage for something like that. So we're coming up on the commercial break here, so I will address some of those other things after we come back from the break.
Hello, this is Mark Gaw, your local Twin Lakes Business Solutions consultant. As weather warms up, it's easy to let your guard down, but we're here to ensure your business stays on track. Explore Twin Lakes customized solutions designed for your business of every scale. Experience lightning-fast fiber broadband speeds up to 10 gig, dependable phone and conferencing services, and round-the-clock tech support to keep your operations running smoothly. Don't let your business miss a beat. Reach out to me today at 931-823-5511 or visit us online at twinlakes.net.
The Habitat Restore, your favorite home improvement store, is celebrating 15 years all month long. 15 years of donating and shopping to help build affordable homes in your community. This Saturday, you're invited for special sales events, plus a cookout to say thank you. There will be huge savings on doors, siding, carpet, furniture, books, housewares, something for every room in your home. Don't miss out on the Habitat Restore 15th year celebration this Saturday just off North Washington on East 15th Street in Cookeville. And check them out online at pcrestore.org.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
All right, and welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. Before the break, I was talking about some supplemental coverages and things like that, especially if you're still working. I mentioned accident plans. They're very inexpensive. Most of them probably less than $20 a month, and will supplement to cover some of those big expenses if you get hurt and need a trip to the emergency room or even urgent care, depending on the plan sometimes. And I always encourage people, if you think you can get taken care of at the urgent care, do that. Don't go to the emergency room unless it's absolutely necessary. One, it's going to cost you more if you go to the emergency room, and it could have been taken care of. And also, you'll probably get seen quicker if you're at the urgent care, because the emergency room is dealing with more serious things, and you twist your ankle and you're not sure if it's broken or sprained. They can do the x-rays and possibly even put a cast on it at urgent care, as long as there's no surgery or anything like that involved. And again, they probably would say, oh, you need to see an orthopedic, and they're going to probably need to do surgery, and you can go to a emergency orthopedic clinic. But so always encourage people, go to the urgent care if hey, if you're bleeding profusely, you think you're having a heart attack, those kind of things. No, do not pass go. Go directly to the emergency room. But if it's just, if it's urgent but not really an emergency, try the urgent cares first. It's going to save you money. And like I said, with some of the accident plans, they may not pay as much. If you go to the urgent care versus going to the emergency room, or some of them pay the same, and that's what I'm saying. They reimburse costs. They do what we call indemnity plans, and those indemnity plans pay you. It's not that you don't have a card that you give to the doctor's office. Oh, I had an accident. This policy's paying for that. No, you're still going to give them your medical card. But you want to get that bill, and always stress to remind people, ask for an itemized bill. And you're not going to get that right there at the clinic that day. You may even have to, a day or two later, contact the facility's billing department and request that. But they do have to provide it. They will provide it. But just because they send you a bill, you wait till you get the regular bill in the mail, may not have enough information for it to file that claim. So you want to get as much information as you can to file for your claim and get that reimbursed quickly. And in fact, sometimes, and if you are hospitalized, when they get ready to send you home, they'll come in and say, hey, if you pay in full today, this is what we're going to charge versus what it would cost if you waited and got it on a bill. So, if you have a credit card, you can put it on that credit card and pay that. And if you get all your paperwork together and get that turned in the insurance company for a claim and get that money back before you actually have to pay your credit card bill, and you can take that money and apply it to your credit card bill, or you can use it for a down payment on a car. It's up to you. It's your money. But generally, those plans are designed to reimburse you, and mainly reimburse you for the work that you're missing because you're not able to work because you were hurt or you were sick, you were unhealthy because you had a heart attack or something like that. You're not able to go back to work. So I always say those plans are all very important for the under 65, still working, still employed category. The retirees, an accident plan can still come in handy because it's still going to pay. And some plans, depending on the company, will cut you off when you turn 65. It's just, hey, this policy no longer exists. You're not paying premium anymore, but so if you are getting close to 65, but you're thinking about some accident coverage, let me know you're thinking about that, and we'll find a plan that doesn't end when you end your working years at 65, if you're ending them at 65. I mentioned the heart attack costs and some of those things, especially cancer is one of those things that's, so debilitating. You're going every, week or 2 weeks for those chemo treatments or radiation treatments, and then you're sick for a week afterwards, so you can't get things done. You maybe need some extra help around the house, and you may have a spouse, but they're taking care of you too, and they're not being able to get the things done. That's where these indemnity plans can come in handy, and you have the money to pay those bills. So even though your insurance paid your health care costs, you can have a lot of other costs incurred. And the big thing is with the cancer plans are generally people want to fight cancer. They want to beat it, and they may decide that this clinic in another state is the best, or somebody refers the doctor that cured them. And so you want to go to that doctor, and again, they're not in this state. You're going to travel to get treatment where that doctor is. And again, those expenses are not covered by your health insurance. So that's where cancer plans can come in very handy. They'll reimburse. Some of them have travel allowances. Some of them it's just, there's treatment plans, and then there's lump sum plans. And I think that especially a lump sum plan comes in very handy because you have the money up front and can figure out how to do those expenses. And again, especially if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, because the different treatments, cancer treatments, you're going to pay 20% of the cost until you hit the maximum out-of-pocket for that plan, whatever it is. And currently this year, that plan can be up to $8,300. So that's a big cost that insurance is not going to cover because you're paying 20% of those costs. After the $8,300, they're paying 100%, but you had to spend $8,300 to get there. And a cancer plan for $1 a day gives you enough money to possibly cover that maximum out-of-pocket for 2 years. Can be very handy. So that's some of those things of why those indemnity plans really make a lot of sense. The other is what we call a hospital indemnity plan. Sometimes when we write it out, it's HIP, H-I-P, hospital indemnity plan is what it stands for. We don't usually use the term HIP when we're talking to a client, but, maybe I'm emailing you and say, well, did you look over that proposal for that HIP? I may shorthand it because I don't like to type a lot. So, and my family will let you know I'm not really a good typist, and Bree will tell you that I'm chicken pecking on the keyboard. So I'll throw myself under the bus. So if I can take a little shorthand, I generally will. But the issue is, the Medicare Advantage plans are great if you don't have, a lot of money to spend on insurance, because you do get that zero premium, but you do end up with that pay as you go. So if you're going to see a specialist, you're going to have a copay. If you have to have an outpatient surgery, you're going to have a big copay. If you're admitted in the hospital, there's going to be a big copay. And again, I mentioned like the cancer treatments that you're going to pay 20% of the cost till you hit that maximum out of pocket. That's where those hospital indemnity plans, again, come in very handy, because they cost much less than a Medicare supplement plan that's going to cover once you've hit the deductible, but they do, you are going to have those costs. But again, for a lot less than the Medicare supplement, you can have the money that will reimburse for a hospital stay or for outpatient surgery, MRI, depending on which plan you get. So those funds can come in really handy. If you got questions about that, give us a call. It doesn't cost anything to talk to us, and I'm not going to push you into anything, but I will show you why I think a plan makes sense for you. So then the other thing I wanted to talk about was I mentioned we're going to have this avoiding the nursing home and avoiding those long-term care costs. The other thing I've talked about a couple times on shows, what we call short-term care. Just went through another training yesterday, so I decided I would kind of refresh on that. Short-term care, and the main reason they call it short-term care because they couldn't call it long-term care because that term has already been defined. But the plans that will actually pay to help you with those home health needs that aren't covered by your insurance because you need help at home because you just had surgery. Your health insurance doesn't cover that. They'll cover if a medical professional's coming to your house to change a dressing, do a checkup, physical therapy. Sometimes that you can get home physical therapy, but they're only there for like an hour. And they're only there for that medical purpose. They're not going to help you with your dishes. They're not going to help you get to the bathroom. That's not their job. Their job is to come in and do that medical service and leave. That's what your insurance pays for. So that's where a short-term plan can really come in handy for that home care. The plan that I did the training on yesterday, they pointed out something, and I didn't realize it on the plan. So it's you get 360 days treatment that it will pay out. So if you have a home care person coming in, it'll pay for each day that person's coming in. In my mind, that 360, I saw that as a year. Well, it can work out that way, but maybe you've only got them coming in 2 or 3 days a week. That it's 360 days. So it can be for 2 or 3 years that you're getting that benefit. The other thing is, depending on some of the benefits, reset. So if you get certain care after 180 days of not having any claims, you start over with a new series of care. So they're not necessarily lifetime limits. Again, that's something to check into. Much less expensive than long-term care, because what I run into dealing with a lot of Medicare folks, they'll contact me, or we're working on their Medicare, and they'll ask me about long-term care, and I was like, well, yeah, I can help you with long-term care, but we're already penny pinching on, well, this supplement's $5 more a month. Why would I go with that one? And then I hit them with, well, it's going to be at least $500 a month for your long-term care plan, and they're like, oh, never mind. The short-term care plans are much less than that. And most of them, and I've got that, and we also have I mentioned the hospital indemnity plans. They're basically a guaranteed issue when you're at that age of you're going on Medicare. Now, they may have some limitations of what they'll cover in the first 6 months to a year based on your health and pre-existing conditions, but it doesn't mean you'll be turned down for the plan. So that's something, again, if you're in that 63 to 68 age range, most of the plans are going to be guaranteed issue on those type plans. I've got a couple of carriers that is guaranteed issue. So let me know if I can help you with that. But yeah, come on in and take a look at those. Those are something that, like I said, they're very inexpensive relative to some of your other costs. We can supplement a Medicare Advantage plan. And because what I'll run into, especially, I didn't know you when you turned 65. You called one of those 800 numbers, and they pushed you into a Medicare Advantage. And then a couple of years down the road, something major happens, and you're looking to switch to the Medicare supplement, and then you find out you can't get it because you can't qualify. So you're going to have to stay in a Medicare Advantage plan because of your health. Doesn't mean you can't get some other coverage that will pay for some of those expensive things. Now, again, there's some limitations. You may not get care for the first or get help paying for the first 6 months, but it's something is going to be ongoing. It can still be cost effective to have that in place for after 6 months to a year and still be able to use those benefits. So again, as I always say, contact us on insurancematchmaking.com. You can call the office, 931-881-3969. We are now at 1683 South Jefferson. Got a nice new sign up. So if you're looking over there towards the Domino's, or you pull up in the parking lot, you're going to see my sign. You're going to know exactly what we're in. It's considered Suite D because Domino's has two. They have they're in A and B, and then the vape shop is in C. And then the comic book store is right next on the other side of me. So if you come to brave the construction, they're doing a lot. It's going to be nice when Jefferson is finally finished widening there, and we've got a 5-lane, road on that part of Jefferson is going to be nice. But the construction's a little bit of a pain right now, but we'll get there. But easy to park, plenty of parking in the parking lot. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to, doing that lunch and learn on April 18th for the avoiding the nursing home. Got plenty of parking for that. So basically kind of what I'm looking for is to have 6 couples in that session. You don't have to be a couple, but if you are married, we do encourage you and your spouse to attend that workshop on the avoiding the long-term care costs. Let's get that book now. Call ASAP because we run out of seats. We're not going to have room for more. If we get enough response, we can always schedule a second time. Probably looking at doing these sessions maybe once a month, every 2 months. But we'll see how that goes. So again, until next time, see you on the radio.
You've been listening to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.